So after almost a week of rain, we finally have some nice weather, which means we get to start cutting more holes into the van. And the first one we're gonna do is for a bunkie window, which is gonna go right here. Okay, so this is the window, and we're gonna cut a hole here and then install it and see how it goes. All right, so to create this template, I'm gonna use the box that the window came in. Now that I've got this cardboard piece, which is roughly the shape of the window, or the size of the window, I should say, take this little ring thing, and you trace the inside of this. Down in here, where it contacts the cardboard, I'm gonna trace along there all the way around the window. Okay, so it's now the next day. I had forgotten about this support right here that I need to cut out in order to install the bunkie window, and I needed to rent a grinder from Home Depot in order to do that. So we've got the grinder now, we've got my lines ready and ready to make sparks. So now that I have the support cut free, both on the top here and on the bottom down here, I still have to break the glue loose behind it that's holding it to the side panel of the van. So that's just gonna be a combination of just trying to pull it off and then probably finding something to cut away that adhesive that's holding it on. So that was actually super easy. Just came right off. That's nice. So now that the support is out and I've kind of shaved away some of this glue that was back here, we're gonna line up the template in here, kind of like how we did the fan. We're gonna line it up on the inside, drill a couple holes through the template and through the van wall, and then take the template to the outside and trace it there and cut it outside. Danielle is just sleeping the day away.
No!
So that's why she's not here.
No.
Danielle is editing. Okay, come over here.
Gazing at the blue of the night.
So now with the template traced on here, I'm gonna go about drilling some holes, and where you want to drill those holes is just where it starts to curve. So like right here, and then down here where it starts to curve from this, or like right around here, and then do that on all four corners, so there'll be 2 holes per corner. So behind me, right back over here, I just got done putting up the plastic to catch all the metal shavings for when I cut out the window. And yeah, that's the last step. Let's start cutting now. Okay, so game plan for the cut. Basically, I'm gonna start on the bottom and then do the sides and then leave the top for last. What you don't want to do is do the bottom last, so then it'll be like trying to fall either way on you as you're cutting it, and your blade will get cut and stuff. So you want to leave the top cut as the last cut.
They could say they've seen the highest mountain, bottom of the deepest sea.
To show you guys an example of why I have this tape down, up here, this is a scratch from the guard on the jigsaw. Now this piece doesn't matter because this is the piece I'm cutting out, but I want to make sure to guard it, like have tape far enough to cover where the guard is so that I don't put a scratch like this into the, you know, the paint that's part of the van that's not getting cut out. First cut, let's go! Window fits, first cut, didn't have to do any cleanup. So now I'm gonna go through with the metal file and just go all around the edges and then paint it and let that dry, and then we'll be able to install that later tonight. So it's going good. The paint around the edge is now dry. We're gonna put the window in. Danielle's gonna hold it from the outside, and I'm gonna go to the inside of the van and install the clamp ring from there, and that should hold the window on. So to do this, I'm just using the included screws, and I'm gonna put a little dab of this Loctite on each of the screws as I go.
Bottom of the deepest sea, but no one's ever seen, no one's ever seen a love like this. It could dig a bowl of every treasure, swear it's worth more than.
The nice weather viewer has stayed with us for another day of installing windows. Right now you can see Danielle behind me just putting in the sound deadener around the window we installed yesterday. We didn't put any on that panel because we knew we were putting a window in there. And I'm sure some of you are curious what is going to happen with the framing that is blocking the window. So I do have a plan for that, but that will be a different video. We're going to concentrate on for now is getting the rest of the windows. We have 3 more windows to install, 2 for the back doors here, so this one and the one over here, and then 1 will go in the sliding door. So yeah, that's the plan. The rest of the windows we have to install will at least be easier in one way, in that we don't need to create a template and like get it aligned and try and make sure it's level and square and all of that, because these are essentially like factory replacement windows. So as you see here, there's this punched lip, and we just will draw a mark around this lip, and then that is what we have to cut. So you know, the template is kind of built into the van itself, and we just have to cut around it, and then the window goes in there. So that will make at least the cutting portion of the install a little bit easier. We'll see how the rest of the install for these goes, because they are installed a little bit differently. This window, as you saw, was like clamped on with a ring. The rest of them are just going to be glued onto the outside of the van, same way that like windshield windows are installed on cars. So before we start actually cutting holes, we're just gonna get the windows out and hold them up to the back of the outside of the van, just to make sure that we did in fact get the correct windows. So now I've just gone around this flange with a Sharpie and drawn a line and continued that line over this support that runs across here. Drawing the line most of the way is probably unnecessary, but it'll make just me feel more confident while I'm cutting to have a line to follow rather than just trying to follow this little metal flange. And then we've got the door open, you can see here, and then I've got some plastic below the door so no metal shavings get in the van or in all the open gaps of the door that are underneath that plastic. Alright, so I just drilled some holes all around the perimeter of where I'm gonna cut, mostly around where like the different bends and corners are, just to give myself the ability to come at those from like different angles, the top or the bottom, with the jigsaw, to hopefully make that job a little bit easier. And now it's time to cut. Okay, so last thing before we put the single step primer on is I'm just going to go around the area with this tack cloth, and this will just remove any last remaining oils and dirts from the area that we're going to apply it. Okay, so now we're going to use this 3M single step primer, this with this little dauber, and then go around in one swoop, probably like about a ½ inch off of the edge. And then we traced out where the window is here. That's where the window sits, so I'll go about a ½ inch in from there. And yeah, then this needs a little bit of time to dry. We'll finish cutting out the other window, and then probably be able to install this one.
Oh, it's a yawner dog. Yeah, hi good girl. Hi good girl. You're such a good girl. You're such a good girl, yeah.
Getting ready to put the window weld, 3M window weld on, so I'm using that same tack cloth to go around the outside of the window just to make sure there's no dirt or oil on it, and then we'll put the welds down. We got the hole for our second window here, and the edges are all painted. I'm gonna go back through with that single step primer that we used and put that about a ½ inch off of the cut. the same way we did for the last one. Okay, here I went a little bit more than a 1/2 inch just because closer to the edge this way, closer to the center, is where we're actually going to put the glue. So that's where the primer should be. So I just put a whole bunch there. Whatever, it's all going to be covered up anyways. The screen. Okay, so now we're going to go to the glass and put the window weld on the glass, and it should give us enough time. This primer needs at least 10 minutes to dry, and then we'll be good, and we'll be able to put it up there and be done. Using the tack cloth around the edge, and then we'll put the window weld on. Build. We had some rain last night, so that was a pretty good test for the back windows here that we installed and this Bunkie window. Both of them held up really good. No water on the inside, so that's really encouraging. The only thing we have to do today is the big window for over here on the slider door. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest single window we're gonna put in. Hopefully it doesn't take too long and goes well just as smoothly as these rear windows did yesterday. And yeah, we might actually have a fairly short build day today. So let's get to it. So here we are in the van, getting the slider door prepped. So we've got that plastic skirt here just protecting the door, and then I just have this tarp on the inside because we do have to make this cut with this door basically closed. So that way hopefully all the metal shavings will just get on this tarp, and then we can just pull that tarp out the door and get everything out of the van once we're done cutting the window out. So now I have the technically unnecessary black Sharpie line all the way around the inside here, and a few holes drilled around the perimeter, and we're gonna start cutting.